So today we're here to talk about XCL, but we're also here to talk about one of my favorite video tools, Camtasia. And we're going to be talking about a video workflow today on the exclusive. So welcome. It is May, and we've invited Matt Pierce from TechSmith to join us today because I was having a conversation with Matt probably, I don't know, what was it, like 2 months ago about something I was demoing for a class. And during that demo, I had asked Matt about this AI feature that he had talked to me about at a conference. And he said, "Oh, it's pretty easy. You can just use Snagit to do this and then pull it into Camtasia." And so he talks me through this workflow. I demoed it in class in about 15 seconds. And I was like, this is really cool. Can we talk about it on an exclusive? So we're here to talk about today an AI powered workflow for creating instructional videos and using XCL to track those videos so that you can gather meaningful data. So, welcome, Matt. Welcome to the
Thank you,
show.
Sarah.
And we have Rob here, our CTO, who is going to be making sure that all of our technology continues to work. So, live streams are so much fun. So, let's get into it. I only have about 30 minutes together today, and I am really interested in kicking us off with why. Why is it that Camtasia is a useful tool for instructional videos? So let's just talk about the tool set briefly, Matt. Give us a rundown of why is this tool useful for creating instructional videos specifically?
Yeah. So first, let me preface and say that one of the things that's changed recently that is if you have a license of Camtasia, an individual license, you now get Snagit. So we're going to talk Camtasia as a suite of products for the most part. Coming early next month, anyone that has Camtasia will also get access to Snagit. So if Snagit's not in your tool set, you're going to get it. But why is Camtasia? We've been working on Camtasia we're an old software company. We're almost 40 years old as a company, but yet we're a small company. But we've really built Camtasia with the idea of like, how do we not only help people make good video, but we know people are always doing stuff on their screen, right? You've got systems to capture, you've got these, it could be a PowerPoint slide, but all that has to get captured and then done something with, right? And so we try to make Camtasia an easy process, easy workflow to make something that's not only going to look good, but allows you to think about how do I integrate these learning methodologies and points, right? Like, how do I help make sure that I'm not just making a video, but I'm making something that's going to be effective for the learning? And of course, in video, I've spent a lot of time learning about and thinking about video is you watch a video, you don't necessarily learn, it's in the actions that are afterwards. So your video is really setting up your learners for success, getting the knowledge they need, watching through the steps. So I think Camtasia just does a really great job because it makes it easy for you as the creator of that video, but also it allows you to make something that looks really good that can engage your end user.
That's a really good high level. And one of the things that made me think of is when I first started using Camtasia, because I come from a background of doing a lot of systems training, a lot of systems training. And when we would have a new system, we would do demos, right? And it would be step-by-step guides, and it would be, let's do a video explainer on how to do this certain function. And I've done that type of training a lot of different ways, from simulations to video to step-by-step guides. And I started using Camtasia because it is much more efficient to use screenshots when you're creating training on systems rather than full motion video where you record your screen as you're doing it, because full motion video ends up with a really heavy video. So the file size is much bigger. And that doesn't really make sense because you're talking about training static screens, right? So what I would do is I would take screenshots of the whole process as I would go through it and then pull it into Camtasia on the timeline and then create the instructional video. The magic that I want us to talk about today and get into, Matt, is talk to us about what you all have created. So you said that Snagit, which is a program that creates screenshots, you said that that comes with Camtasia now. So talk to us about this kind of instructional workflow.
Yeah. So think about when you're creating that systems training in particular, there's scaffolding, right? You might want someone to watch a video. They get great overview context. You can see the full motion of like where you go with your mouse cursor, all the kind of bits and bobs that need to be there. But sometimes you don't need that, or maybe you're coming back to it. Like you went through the training, it's a couple weeks later, and you're just like, I don't want to watch a whole video, but I want the process, right? And so what we've developed is really a workflow to allow you to capture and make a document that's really easy to create, and then also turn that into a video and that is completely editable and changeable and manipulable, so you can have whatever you want. So you can get the benefit of having a quick job aid, a video, and you're one and done. It's like a quick process. So I think the benefit is that you're going to want all those pieces to help support not just the initial learning, but also that kind of post-training support. Makes total sense.
Show us how to do it. Why don't you do a screen share and show the folks what you showed me? And if you wouldn't mind, as you go through this demo, Matt, talk through it as you're doing it and tell us what you're doing as you go.
Yeah, so I've got two things here. I've got this website that we're going to use as our example content. It's a system that's I'm going to log some time off for my company. And I've got Snagit open here as well. And what we're doing is what we're going to start with what's called a step capture. And so I just go to my Snagit toolbar. This is the same on Windows as it is on Mac. So I'm on a Mac. But if you go to the image tab, there's this selection called steps. Now, this is about a year old. So if you're on an older version of Snagit, you might not see this, but it is in all the newer versions. When I'm ready, what I'm going to do is just hit capture. It's going to bring up my capture steps. And what you're going to notice here is a little toolbar. And hopefully it's seeable. You can see it. My screen's really big here. A little bar that says 0 steps. Now, every place I click, we are going to capture a step. So let's say I want to go to calendar here. I'm going to request time off. And then I can put in my dates. And then for this case, I'll just do a drop down here just to keep it brief. Let's say this is I'm going on a vacation, and I'm going to submit my request. That's just enough for our demo right now. What Snagit has done is it's gone through and captured all of the steps that are there, right? And now it says I've got this extra one I don't need. And so it's easy to manipulate and change this to be whatever you want. This is a fake site, so it didn't capture all the data, but I can come in here and say, I want to just update this to be pay-wise time off, right? Or whatever your document is. I can also come in here to my images and I can start to say, that's not exactly where I want this cursor to be, or maybe I need more context here so I can zoom out or I can zoom in. All this is completely editable. You can even add other things. So let's say you had something in here that you're like, oh, I don't want to show Emmett Smith's name. I could come in here to say, oh, the blur tool. And I could redact that, right? I could say, let's not show that. So once you get your document all set up, this is savable as a PDF. You can save it to a Word document. You could put it into a PowerPoint if you're going to maybe do some classroom training. But that's not what we're going to do with it. We're going to take it into a little bit of a different process today because we're going to introduce what we're calling, right now it's called Camtasia AI. You'll probably hear me refer to it as generative screencasts. And if you go to camtasia.ai, anyone can use this right now. You can see it is a lab project, so there's still some occasionally think you might run into something. If you do, let us know. You can put any screenshot here. It doesn't have to be from Snagit. It doesn't have to be the step capture I just did. The step capture is going to give us some unique opportunities because it's going to look at other data beyond just the screen capture. We're still working through this, but I'm going to just go here to Reveal in Finder so I can find that image. And then I'm just going to drag it into my little drop down here. And what you're going to see is going to add those images that I just captured.
And Matt, I wanted to ask something real quick. So just before we do the AI piece, what I think is really interesting here is that you've done this work once. So you basically used Snagit to capture step by step as you went through the process. And Snagit captured screenshots as you went and said, this is what happened step 1, this is what happened step 2. And it even gave the little description about what was happening, right? And all of that's editable. So you've basically done the work once to capture your process in Snagit. And now you can export this for a PDF or a PowerPoint, all of these different formats, which by the way can be tracked in XCL. We'll talk about that later. But that work has been done once. So now what you're doing is with those Snagit screen captures of the process, which just went down the page, right?
Document, right?
Yeah.
Is a document. And again, you don't like the colors here, the numbers, you want to change them. You don't want it to be 1, 2, 3. You want it to be ABC. All that is customizable. So you have complete control. We really believe that, especially in the world of AI, that human control, human input is really important. And the better the input here, the better you're going to get results in this Camtasia AI. So now all I've done is just literally drag that Snagit file into here. And I'm going to hit this. And what it's going to do is when I click that kind of go button, it is going to if all things are working, it's going to create a storyboard because again, we want you to be in control. So what you might see, and I did notice as I was going through this practicing here, that when some of these, it's like, what is in focus here? So it does sometimes need a little bit of kind of help. But in this case, you get this focus option and you can adjust the focus. So I'm going to say this first one, I want full context. So I'm just going to update that, say, okay. And I got the script. If I don't like the script, I can just click into it and I can change it to be anything. It can say, hi, Matt, whatever. And then there's a call out text that's going to pop up on the screen. Again, all customizable. And so as you go in here, I did find that it's really nice when you know you're going to want to highlight something. I clicked on calendar here. I'm going to want to go through and update that. Now, we won't spend the time to go through and make all those changes, but it is worthwhile just going through and making sure things are lined up the way you want, saying the thing you want. But again, the beautiful part here is you've got control over all of that. And then when we click generate video, now this is using AI to do this. It is going to generate everything that you need. It's got a script. It's going to pull in a voice. It's going to add some music, although I'm not a fan of adding the music. I'll talk about removing that later. You've got the call outs. It's going to add a mouse cursor. So it's going to look like a screen recording video, even though we didn't record moving the cursor at all. But that is why the focus points are so important. So once this is done generating, we're going to get a preview of it. And then we get to watch and say, yep, that works really well, or maybe something was off. But unlike maybe other generative video that if you've played with generative video, it's not a one and done. You can still go back and change parts and pieces and get it to be exactly the way you want. So you're not locked into something that is like, oh gosh, I did it once. Now I got to burn credits to do it again, right?
Real quick question from the chat here. Jacob asked, does Snagit capture keyboard clicks too, or just mouse clicks as you're going through the process?
So it's right now it's only capturing the mouse clicks, but Camtasia would capture keyboard clicks if you like typing, if you needed something to do that.
So Snagit won't.
No, it doesn't do that at this point.
Okay, that's super helpful because I know that in Camtasia, I definitely used keyboard because that combination. So what would you do if you had keyboard function that you wanted to capture? Just add
what
it?
I would do is I'd go back into my Snagit. Let's say on this click for time off, maybe there's a hotkey or something I want. I would either add text. I could add a call out that calls that out, something like, that's really big, but I could add in here control whatever. So that's how I would do it. Or you could do stamps, but I'd also make sure I'd maybe put it up here in the top, right? Use control plus V or whatever it is you're looking for.
Sure.
So I'd include it in the context of that text as well as maybe an on-screen image. And that will help. If you put it on here as part of the image, it will get included into the visual as well. I'm going to stop sharing real quick because I want to share my sound just so you can all hear it. I always forget to share sound when I'm doing videos. So now we got this preview, right? So I'm just going to play it for a second and see what we've got.
To get started, click the calendar button to access your scheduling options. Click the calendar button once more to activate the calendar view and confirm your selection. Next, select the request time off button to start your...
So here's where that focus, I should have selected the focus because if I put the focus right on the button, it's going to click on the button. So again, you can see there's a little bit of work, but this one looks like it does a little bit better.
Click here to open the drop-down menu and choose the type of time off you want to record.
So it's a little off, but that's on me for not spending more time in our demo to do that. But the good news is, again, I want to make sure it's clicking on the right thing. I'm just going to come in here and edit my focus area. And that one's good. So we'll update that one. If I go to the next one, again, super easy and control. So I just can move this up, set that to there. And then when I've updated everything that I want, I can just regenerate the video and I'm good to go. Now, here's the thing that I love about this is if you're done and you like it, you get an MP4. You can say export MP4. It's going to produce the MP4. You can download it and you're off and putting it in your content. But if you want more changes, and you're like, this was great, but I'd really like to tweak some things. Something was too fast or the mouse cursor is not quite getting to where you want it to do. You can download it as a Camtasia project file. And when you do that, I won't take the time to do that process here, but let me just open this up. And this is just another project very similar to the one we just did. And you can see here, I'll make this a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. It gave me all the different tracks. And so if I'm unhappy with something or something's not meeting my brand standard right now, I can come in here and I can completely move it. I don't like the mouse cursor. I can come to one of these tracks and it will have all the mouse cursor motion, right? Like I can come in here and adjust where that cursor is. I can add other effects, all completely customizable. The other thing, this is also fairly new. If you have Camtasia, we have another product called Audiate. And Audiate, and I'm using an internal build, so ignore the little sign there, is you could take this into Audiate, transcribe it, so you get captions from it, but you can also edit the text based on, let's say I wanted to change or delete something, I can do that. If you have an upgraded version, so a little bit higher plan version, I could actually come in here and I could say, hey, let's generate a different voice for that. Or I wanted to add an avatar. Those are options at the higher levels, but everyone with Camtasia gets the transcription, the text-based editing, so that you can easily go through, and if you want to easily add captions to this, you can. So really, again, highly customizable. You're getting these multiple pieces from basically one set of screen captures, and then you've got documents, you got videos, you got a whole bunch of support tools to make your training effective and hopefully get across the message that you want to.
One thing I want to point out that what you said is that even though you're starting with Snagit, so you're starting with exactly the content that you want, you're using generative AI to pull the video together and start your project. So it makes that process faster and can pull some things into it. But what I love about this, which we talked about before this call started today, is that you don't have to keep doing the generative AI thing over and over again, trying to get what you want. You can pull it into a tool that you can then use to create the video the way that you want it. And what I want to make an important point about this, the AI space, that I don't have a problem with AI. I have lots of problems with AI, but I don't have a problem with folks using AI. I think the challenge is when it's clearly just AI, right? So I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and she said this to me and I was like, I need to start explaining it this way because it really captures how I feel. Is it's not that you shouldn't use AI to help with your workflows and make things easier, but don't just use that. If it's clearly just AI generated, then you don't need me anymore. I'm not actually contributing anything to this process. I'm basically doing a job that robots can do. So I think it's really interesting how this workflow allows me to pull this into tools that I can use to do the parts that I need to do, but makes that piece easier. And I love the step-by-step process because let's talk about data. So you've done the work once in Snagit. You've gone through and captured your steps. You now can use that to create a video, but you can also use it to create a PDF or a workflow or an image or whatever you want to use that for. Let's talk about tracking these things in XCL. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to share first the video that Matt created. So we created this little fictitious brand profile for this company, Paywise, that is the system we just showed. And I'm going to show you the link. We'll go in and edit it. So in XCL allows you to create a link to any type of content, including video and PDFs, things that typically you can't use in an LMS, or at least you can't track them in an LMS outside of just opening it. So you can use XCL to create a link to any type of content and track everything that's happening without any user accounts. So nobody has to go to an LMS, nobody has to log into anything. They can access this link to, now, for this case, a video, and you'll know everything that's happening in that video and whether it was useful. So in this instructional video in requesting time off that Matt just created, we can actually go in and create a link. So again, we've created this fake brand profile for this company. And in the brand profile, I said, I just want to know the person's name. But these are customizable, so I could collect any information about the person because there is no login. So I can collect an email, I can collect an employee ID. That part is editable in this particular brand profile, but we've created one just to collect the person's name. And then I've customized that landing page to saying, this is for you to request time off, enter your name and continue. And that is updated in that little landing page that they get with the video. So in the link content, I added the MP4, but the other thing that I added was the VTT file for accessibility so that we have closed captions. And that VTT file was exported straight out of Camtasia. Yeah, Matt?
Yeah.
So Matt was able to pull that project into Camtasia. And you can edit the transcript to make sure it's all accurate right in Camtasia using the audiate function. And then you can export that VTT so that it's all accessible with accurate captions. And that's very important. So we've got the MP4 in the link. We've got the VTT in the link. So that way I've got my closed captions. And then we go to publish it. And if you're watching, you can use this QR code. I'll also pop a link into the chat for those who are joining us either on the LinkedIn live stream or if you are joining us in the Zoom call. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the data. So if you all are checking out this video, you can pop in your name and we'll see what data we get out of this. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to head over to the data section. So in the analytics section of XCL, I have two options. I have a dashboard and an activity stream. So I'm going to go to the dashboard first. This is just a high-level dashboard, and I'm going to add the link that we just created. So this is going to be our time off link. There we go. And so far we have 3 folks that have launched this. So I'm going to take a quick look at the user completion report. And so far I've got Jacob, John, Smith, and Matt so far in here. I can continue to refresh this and I'll know if I've got additional people. So it looks like a couple of folks have already completed this. And so this gives me just a high-level basic report on how many people have watched this video, how many people finished this video, in this case of video. But let's go over to the activity stream because this is really interesting. It gives me all of the data about what happened in the video. So I know if somebody paused, I know if they skipped ahead. Thanks, Jacob, for adding that data in there. I know how long someone was in it. So if they skipped and they were only in it for a few seconds, I know that. I know if they changed the speed, if they changed it to 2 times speed. So maybe it's a 1-minute video, they finished it in 30 seconds because they changed it to 2 times speed. So I have all that data so that I can paint that picture about what happened in the video. So if you ever have someone who says, I did complete the video, you can go in here and look at their data and see exactly what they did and troubleshoot what's happening. This is really powerful from an analytics perspective. And it's been probably, oh my goodness, many years ago. Sean Putman had a story from an organization he worked with. Sean does a ton of work in XAPI and data and analytics. And they had a set of videos that they had created for this exact same purpose we're talking about. So systems training videos. And they did some A/B testing. And they said, here's the data. They tracked everything in the videos with XAPI, which, by the way, was a very long process because they didn't have XCL. They had to do it all manually. But they tracked everything that was happening in the videos. Then they also tracked what was happening on the page with XAPI for the step-by-step processes. And they compared it. And they said, nobody's using the videos because the step-by-step processes were sufficient, and they obviously followed up with people to validate that and make sure that what they thought the data was showing them was accurate. But what they ended up doing is they stopped creating the instructional videos for that case and just used the step-by-step processes because that was the thing that folks needed for that system. So it gives you an opportunity to say which videos do actually need to be video, which ones would be better as just a step-by-step process. There are some things that might be better as instructional video, but it helps you start to gather the data for the business case around where should we spend our resource hours, our time, our effort. And what I love about Matt's process is that you've done that work once. You could easily do an A/B test. You could export that out as a PDF. You could track the PDF in XCL, see every single page they went to. How much time did they spend in that PDF? Did they complete it, make it to the end? All of that you could track. And I could say, here's how our PDF performed versus here's how our video performed. And if you really wanted to go wild, you could pull this into an authoring tool of choice that you, whatever e-learning authoring tool, and maybe you have an e-learning version of this and see which one's performing best. So there are a lot of different ways that you can use this data to improve your process, but also to get a better understanding of how people are using their performance support and training materials in the organization so that you can prove this is the value that we're adding to the organization. And maybe if there are some things that aren't getting used. Maybe it's a communications challenge. Maybe they don't know that it exists, or maybe they just didn't find this thing useful and they need this instead. But it can start those meaningful conversations.
Sarah, can I just add one use case
Please.
that I want to try is often, and we do this with YouTube because YouTube obviously adds a lot of analytics that I can't get internally. But looking at oftentimes if someone's are they rewatching something? Is there something that's and it signals a couple of things. It might be that it was like something funny happened, right? Okay, what was good? Or it's what was confusing? Why were people rewatching this? Because usually that's something went wrong in the instruction that they weren't clear on, or it's really complicated and maybe we need to do a better job. And so I love that kind of just granular data to help me make decisions about not only how to improve that particular content, but to start thinking about my next piece of content and saying, hey, what did we see that worked really well? Or maybe where people were like having struggles with it. And otherwise, you just don't know. You're just hoping people tell you. And that doesn't happen very often.
And so, what I love about this point, and while we're talking about good uses of AI, if you go back to that activity stream with all of your data, you can actually go down here and download your raw data, your raw statements, or your CSV. So you can see it a lot of different ways, but you can download that data and then you can pull that into your favorite AI visualization tool and say, show me the spots where in this video did people repeat? Where in this video did people seem to have struggles? And we actually did this back when we launched XCL. So there is a video on our YouTube channel of us demoing this about how we had a video. I had everyone go through the video and then we pulled that into, and I think we just pulled it into ChatGPT at the time and ran the analytics. Because you have the raw data and the timestamps, it has all that information in there. So it can run the analytics and gives you a beautiful graph to say, here's where people are struggling. So analytics have become easier than ever to check. Now you need to validate it, right? You need to make sure if it's painting a weird picture, dig into the data and just double check. Or is that really what we're seeing maybe in the CSV? But it is a way to do that faster. Now, if you have good BI tools in your organization, you can use this that way as well, right? It doesn't have to be AI generated. So I wanted to leave us today with a couple of free resources to let people go and check this out for themselves. So tell us about Camtasia.
Yeah, so Camtasia is the world's best screen recording tool. And of course, there's a whole suite of products that come with that with Snagit and Audiate. But if you want to try it, you can download it for free, of course. It's actually, you can download it and use it with a watermark for as long as you need. So you can take all the time you want to learn with it. Tons of free tutorials. We got a certification program. We'll make it as easy as possible for you to learn how to use Snagit, Camtasia, and all of our tools. But also, if you want to go play with Camtasia.ai, again, you don't need to use Snagit. You can use any screen capture and just give it a go and see what kind of video can you make with just one screen capture. I bet you'll be impressed with this.
I love it. And I popped this link into the chat as well. So if you go to buildcapable.com/XCL/sandbox, then you can go join the XCL sandbox. Now the data gets wiped out every once in a while, but it is a free sandbox that you can go in and you can test it and play with it. And if you get in there and you love it, you can upgrade it to your own account from the sandbox at any time. So you can create your own account and pull all your own information over. But if you want to go play with this stuff for free and check it out and see what is my video workflow, what kind of data do I get, we encourage you to go check that out for yourself. So our time is up. Thank you so much, Matt, for walking us through the demo. I hope you all found this useful today. We'll put some resources on LinkedIn, and next month we'll be back last Thursday of the month and we will announce the next topic very soon. So thank you for joining us and we hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Sarah.
Thanks.